We're live now. We're now live.
We're late. And there's J. Russell Finch.
They're already in.
Joe K. George Bonnie. What's happening? George Bonnie's always like right there.
He must be sitting at home waiting for the live.
He's one of the quiet ones. Like, you know, he's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's in first and then he just chills. He's always there.
He watches. He never gets timed out. Never starts any arguments. Never even chimed on EGR.
He's always there and giving us the 3 thumbs up. Doug Nard. And then the Dougster, he pops in. All of our regulars here. Look, we already got 6 thumbs up.
Sweet.
The thumbs up are important because it helps our algorithms.
Oh, does it?
Yes, and it gets us, the more thumbs up you get, the more, or more thumbs down. You give us thumbs down, that's just as good. It doesn't, see, the algorithm doesn't care. Like if it's a good comment or a bad comment, it doesn't care if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. The algorithm doesn't care. It just recognizes
usage.
Action. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so what do we got here? Matt S. is in. What's going on? Danny Boyd. Steve Pastore. You know what? What's going on, Andy? Chisel 83. That's a new one. Yo, Zio. Scott Stocker. What's happening? Eureka 7 Wave. He's in there. Jim Kaiser. Harry Australia. I like that. Harry Australia. Fubar. It's Fubar the Axe.
And he is one of the best mods in the world. One of the few. There's a few of them.
Hey, there's one. Not at the UTG World Headquarters. No, but this is actually the last one of these we'll be doing from Dallas's place. We'll be shooting the Wednesday night live shows at the shop from beginning next week. So, Busho, hello from Dallas. Pizza forever, yes. Eternal pizza. James Fife. All right. So what's going on? Anthony Davis, what's up? Trying to keep that channel growing. Yeah, we're growing like crazy. We're growing like weeds.
Doug Narden's asking, why don't you see engines bolted crank to crank anymore? Is it more a hindrance than a gain?
What do you mean bolted crank to crank?
I think he's talking about, like, you remember the freight train was like virtually,
twin engine cars?
Yeah, where they're bolted directly each other on the flex plate, right?
It's diminishing returns.
Oh, really?
It's diminishing returns. You would think that if you put 2 800 horsepower engines together, you've got 1,600 horsepower, but you don't. You've only got like 950 horsepower.
Huh.
It doesn't work the way you would think that it works.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. There's diminishing returns to adding engines, and then
well, maybe that's why that they disappeared from the gas dragsters.
Well, if you look at those days, you know, the late days of Top Gas, when twin engine cars and single engine cars were competing, you know, they were really close. The twin engine cars had just the slightest advantage.
Huh.
So you would think a single engine car's got 1,000 horsepower, twin engine car's got 2,000 horsepower. Boy, howdy, it's going to just run away and hide, right?
Right.
But no, it didn't work like that.
I wonder if putting them in a different configuration helped out. Like, say, when Ivo had those twin engine car, I looked at it more like you mount them front to back, that'd be like a series. And then if you mount them side to side, it's like parallel.
Early days of the twin engine cars. The twin engine cars actually had an advantage because of the weight.
Oh, so it helps with traction. Yeah.
Exactly. They spun the tires less, so they went faster.
Huh.
But you'll see that the single engine car almost always came out on top.
Well, I just saw something that was pretty interesting today. I want to say it was a V10. Was it V10? It might have been more than that. But I believe it was a V10 Hemi. Did you know that? It's like 1,120 cubic inches or something.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was an aircraft engine.
Oh, they had all kinds of, they had tank engines. But you were talking about, Needwell says double engine Harley drag bikes didn't work.
Fubar put up the link for AHR Drag Racing History Channel already.
Because Fubar is that far advanced. He's that far ahead.
He must have been thinking about what was happening just a few minutes ago. We were actually
working on that.
Yeah, we were working on another video.
Yes.
Yep.
Which we'll have that up tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, it should be tomorrow or the next day.
Dana Sailor, thank you, sir.
So somebody said, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Okay, well let's talk about this because the TV Tom and I overran a quad Buick nailhead drag car. So let's talk about that. I actually did a whole video on that car.
We were actually going to do a video on the exhibition cars.
Well, let's go back. Let's talk about the twin engine cars and something that you brought up. So Gene Adams, who's somebody I owe a debt of gratitude to before because he gave me my first basic nitro tune-up. And then I evolved it from there as we went along with the cars. But Gene Adams played with a twin-engine top fuel car called the Double Eagle. And it was a 2 injected 354 Chrysler.
Okay.
Okay. And that was legal in top fuel at the time. This is 1971. And they played with all different configurations. They played with the engines, having the engines run, both single cylinders, number one fires on both at the same.
Oh, so they're playing with firing order, so it's harmonically
staggering them and so on and so forth. And what he picked up from that was that it didn't matter which one, how you set them up as far as like crankshaft positioning. They tried all different setups there. But what would happen was one engine would always end up going dead fat. It didn't matter how they tuned them. One motor always ended up running fat. And that was because the other motor picked up the load.
Huh. Oh, so you have to tune it completely like two separate engines because it doesn't have a combined plenum.
It just didn't work.
Huh.
It just didn't work. Okay, so let's see.
Well, the reason why I did that is, did you already play with hydrazine? Just a regular Honda guy asks.
Maybe. Okay. Let's see. Mopar Man got his AHRA Uncle Sam style poster. Yep, there you go. He's already got it framed and on the wall.
Sweet.
Which one is that? You want?
That's the I Want You for AHRA.
There you go.
You call that the I Want You guy, but yeah, that's the Uncle Sam. That it was originally taken from probably the 60s
only
or 70s.
thing I have left from my nitro days, I have my breather mask still, and I have my hydrometer.
Oh, hydrometer.
That's the only two things I have.
But that's all you probably need to identify yourself as a
hydrometer piston.
Well, you guys probably had a lot of sacrificial lambs to the gods of speed, right?
The truth of the matter is, the only reason I still have the breather mask and the hydrometer is because I couldn't find them to throw them away when I quit.
And in a box somewhere, I'll find them eventually.
Yeah, they were stuffed under the stairs or something. And then when I quit and I cleaned house, they just weren't around, so I didn't throw them out.
Oh, Granny's Garage is asking, what were some of the first companies to sell nitrous kits?
Mike Thermos NOS is, as far as I know, the first one to sell and I don't even know if he called it NOS at the time. But as far as I know, Mike Thermos is the first guy to actually sell a kit.
I saw a car at a car show in San Diego that had one of them original kits, and it had these weird, funky-looking solenoids. It didn't look anything like the solenoids that you see today. They're big and bulky looking, right? I'm sure they're used for some kind of pneumatics on like say a conveyor line, like an assembly line. But it had NOS stickers. It wasn't the same like you would see today,
right? But
it was a nitrous oxide system sticker.
Oh, the guy was asking about Tommy Ivo's car, the Showboat, the 4-engine car.
Right.
So just an aside to all of that, that car was a successful exhibition car, but it never worked as an actual race car. Like it never worked even close as an actual race car. Because your big problem there is weight transfer. As soon as the car would leave the starting line, the front end would become unloaded and it would just blow the front tires off.
They found out for a while there it was actually called the moving fog bank, I think is what they called it.
Yeah.
Right? But it just didn't work for acceleration contests because, like you said,
right,
it just became the Showboat,
And Ivo actually in the day never drove that car. That was Don Prudhomme drove that car more than Ivo. Ivo didn't drive the car until at some point, it was years after. It was sold to some people who rebodied it as a Buick station wagon, and they called it the Wagon Master. And it made the exhibition rounds all through the late 1960s into the 70s. Still with the 4 Buick engines. And then I'm trying to think of the name of the Ford company, the Ford place in California. Galpin Ford built a Mustang with 4 injected 351s to run match races against the 4-engine Buick. And that was all. Yeah, and there's a video of that.
Buick versus Ford. I mean, how far does this go back, right?
Yeah, I've actually seen a video of those two cars match racing.
Well, so Mitch David's asking, where's the best speed shops near Murfreesboro? Superstock Dragways? I'm new to the area.
There are no speed shops around here that I know of. There
was one downtown, but it closed down. It closed down like
there was
Mike's
Speed Shop on Broad Street. There was There were a few of them, but I mean, Shacklett's Machining in Nashville is the number one go-to place there.
There is the
is Tennessee Speed Sport.
Well, you also got Alky Digger in Nashville.
Yeah, I've never met him.
Oh no,
talked to him on the phone, but I've met Mike Cheliando.
Right,
but I've never actually met him. I've got to get out there eventually.
Oh, I went there a couple of times. I was looking for 215 injection setups, and like they're few and far between. But he's had a couple of them.
Okay, let's see.
Michael Miller's asking, what's your opinion on third gen Chargers? What's third gen? Is that 71?
Yeah, so 71, 72 is it's third gen and a half, because 71, 72 is one configuration, and then 73, 74 they changed enough stuff that it's really a completely different generation, though they look the same.
Well, I think the 71, 72s are actually really good looking because they have the pre-nader bumpers, right? And then when they went later.
Vinny LC, why do slingshot dragsters not have a rear wing? Do they not need it because of weight balance? Well, think about it for a second. A front engine dragster has the driver behind the axle, so the driver is acting as a bob weight. If you put more downforce behind the car, there's just no way you're putting anything on the ground. There were some people, like for instance, Garlitz had experimented with the wing, but the wing was mounted above the motor, right, to push down on the center of the car where it needed to be put down on. Slingshot dragsters, if you look at pictures of slingshot dragsters from like that era, 1969, 70, 71, you'll see that they all had like lead weights taped and clamped and everything to the front axle. And people think that was to keep the front end down. Okay. And that wasn't the case at all. It was to make the car steerable.
Oh, because it gets so light in the front?
Because it gets so light in the front. And you have such a small contact patch on the front tires.
Well, I have seen them before where they had the wing over the front axle.
Yeah. Yeah. That was another thing, too. But that wasn't until later on. Although, the first person I know of to put a wing over the front of a car was Eddie Hill.
Okay.
Eddie Hill had, this was in 1960 or 61. Eddie Hill had a twin-engine Pontiac, front-engine car, square chassis type of car.
Right.
Two Pontiacs side by side like this, and a giant piece of plywood.
Oh, I've actually seen pictures of that as well. There was another one. Oh, I can't. It might have been Jack Christman. They did the same thing where they tried to run the plywood in the front for downforce on the front.
Well, Eddie Hill had the plywood going from just behind the front axle where the fuel tank was,
all right,
to the motors. So basically the motors were covered. The front of the motors were covered by this piece of plywood.
Right. Okay. Huh. The Thrill. That's somebody I haven't thought about in a while.
Eddie Hill.
Yeah. Oh, he was a damn good driver in his day. But he started what? Fuel boats. I mean, you got to have some serious cojones to climb in a fuel boat.
Well, he started out with dragsters, then he went to boats, and then he went back to dragsters.
Huh.
And Fuzzy Carter was a good guy. He was a crew chief back when the nuclear banana days.
Right.
Good guy. I spent a fair amount of time talking to him.
Well, I was digging through today to hang some more things up in the AHRA, the History Channel studio, I found a picture. It was it's pre-Hero Card days of Arnie Beswick, right? And it's the Tameless Tiger, the orange and black ultra wheelbase car, like on the bumper. And I can't remember. I think he's running like Dave Strickler or somebody.
I think I know that picture. It's from Beeline Dragway, right? You see the Beeline Tower in the background?
Oh, I actually didn't even try to identify the Dragway. I just saw the car and I was like, oh, man, that would be actually kind of cool to hang up in there in the history office.
Jason's Garage, I once read that Eddie Hill got kicked out of Indy for having a dually rear dragster. He played around with dual rear wheels. I don't know if there was one car that for the life of me, I still don't know how they did this. It was called the Iron Mistress, right? Have you ever seen this thing?
No.
This was a car. This was campaigned around 1863. I think it was just about. I could be wrong, but it was a Messerschmitt body, okay, which
Oh, I'm
Are you
already.
familiar with that?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, it was a Messerschmitt body. It had two blown Chrysler Hemis in it, right?
Okay.
Early Chrysler Hemis. And it had two rear axles. And the two rear axles were staggered.
Were they in succession like a semi truck?
So you had the two motors, okay?
So they're staggered so they could get off the groove of the other tire.
I have no idea. So there was one set of tires that was mounted, one set of back tires that was mounted like this, and a second axle with a set of tires that was mounted like this. So if you look down at the car, it was like a Z. See, I'm pretty sure it's called the Iron Mistress. Somebody could.
Well, I'm going to let you know. You had me at Messerschmitt. You had me at Messerschmitt.
And a Messerschmitt body.
All right. Randall Hubbs. Oh, you know what? There was another one up here. Somebody was asking about AHRA history. What book? Good book for AHRA history. And far as I know, a lot of the history was lost in '84 when the association became defunct. But there is no real books focused specifically on AHRA as far as I know. Brett Kepner was writing one. I don't know if it'll ever be released. And it's not focused specifically on AHRA, but Brett, as you know, Brett's like Mr. Historical Facts, right? So he worked for the AHRA for a number of years, and he would have quite a bit of the history covered. But
wait a minute, this is I'm concerned about this now.
Why is that?
Muscle City Madness is mad at me. Muscle City Madness, what did I do to you? Do you know the Golden Gator Chase Knight, 1971 top gas car? Well, he ran it for a few different years, but 71 is the version that I'm remembering. 72, and Chase Knight. This was a top alcohol dragster. Back in the day, they called it a bad. First year of pro comp, they called them bads.
Bads?
Blown alcohol dragster.
Oh, that's probably not a good name for
It
him.
was the AA bad. Right?
Yeah.
That was the first year of pro comp.
Double A bad. You'd have to be pretty badass to drive double A bad.
So Chase Knight had a rear engine dragster with a 426 Hemi, and it had a 671 supercharger on it, normal 671 supercharger, and then it had a pair of turbochargers.
Oh wow!
That fed into
like boost. Yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't really cram stuff in there.
It's the kind of car when it's running and it's under load out on the track, it actually sucks the oxygen out of your lungs while it's going down the track. Doug Narden's asking, Wild Willie's Winged Express or the Wild Man? What's your pick, Tony?
Well, I mean, obviously, everybody loves the Winged Express, right?
Yeah, I like the whole story behind it, the driver himself, Wild Willie.
Well, so the Winged Express was running two in a car that was actually built out of muffler tubing, and that's the reproduction that's around today. It's based on that. But he ran a car in 1969. It was only around for about 1 year. It was at 1970.
No, because it probably came out in 69 and went upside down in 70. Is that the one you're talking about?
Right. That is a beautiful car.
That one went upside down in the lights, I think, at Alton Dragway.
Might have been. Same place the Carmasinis ran the 204.
Yeah.
But the Charger, the funny car, okay, that I like that because it was a Dodge. See, a lot of people don't even know Wild Willie Bush ran a funny car for a while. Actually, he drove funny cars for a couple of different people.
But the Wild Man was the name, right? Isn't that wasn't the Wild Man?
Right. Well, that was a Revell sponsorship.
Right. Okay.
And it was a Dodge Charger body, butterscotch painted Dodge Charger.
Yeah. Good car. It was a good looking car.
And it had a big block Chevy in it.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
A lot of people don't know that. Which see, Wild Willie Bush was a very unique character, right? He was a narcoleptic. He used to fall asleep in the station lanes. They'd have to wake him up to make his run. He'd sit down in the car and nod off. And when it was time to go, they'd shake him. He'd wake up, make his run, and then go back to sleep again. But he was very nonconformist. So he went from the Chrysler powered fuel altereds when he decided to go funny car racing. they got rid of the Chrysler and they put a Chevy in it with a Dodge body. So he was like totally all over the map. And he had the Revell sponsorship. He had a contract with Revell. And if you look at the box, the cover of the box, it's the car, right?
Right.
And he's not wearing a shirt.
Right. I can totally see this.
Yeah, he's wearing fire pants, but he's not wearing a shirt.
And if you guys didn't know, Wild Willie was like a hairy dude. I mean, he looked almost like a Cro-Magnon caveman.
And the story is that they voided the contract
because he had shirtless.
Because he refused to put on a shirt. That wasn't a setup. It was a hot day. He didn't have a shirt on, and he was like, you know what? Screw you.
And here's the funny thing: Wild Willie was a bricklayer, so he would work all day and then go racing at night, right? And then, like, if you've ever worked out in the sun, especially that he's in Southern California, right? So you work out in the sun all day, where it's like, let's say it never really gets super hot in California, but it never cools off either, right? It's like winter, you might get a 1 month break. So Central Bears is asking 63 Wildcat update. I'm sure you're talking about my special. The special's still kind of on the back burner. I'm trying to finish up a 300 cubic inch Buick for a guy in Florida who has a 62 special. That's a original 60s drag car. So I'm building him a original 60s style motor.
I would turn the camera around and show you guys this engine. It's sitting on the stand right in front of us, but I'm not going to do it. It's going to be a tease. I'm going to do a video on that engine. It is just the coolest. It's just, wait till you see this motor. It's just beautiful, right? Okay, let's see where we are here. Arnie Beswick is still alive. Yes, he is.
Yeah, I talked to him. Oh man, they had they got a racing and performance expo up in Chicago, in Schaumburg, Illinois, every year, and I don't think they've had it ever since COVID-19 happened. But before that, I saw him up there. He came chasing me down. You guys are back. You guys are back. The AHRA is back, and I'm like, yeah, we're back. You can come run with us, Arnie. But of course, we don't have a class.
Okay. Mopar May 1978 got a mildly built 318 with a 727 automatic. That's a power robber, man. You're throwing away 20 horsepower. With a racing shift kit, 8 1/4 rear with 355 gears. Is a 2000 stall converter okay to use in my daily driver D150. Depends on the cam. You know, cam and converter kind of go together. You know what I mean? It seems okay.
2000 is just only like 500 above stock, isn't it?
Yeah, well, not even. The stock is like 1800, so it's like.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think you'd be fine with it. You probably wouldn't even notice the converter. Unless you put some weight behind that D150.
Okay, relax, Ben. Zach Halleman, Ben Smith, relax. What's Ben Smith? Is Ben Smith having a hard time here? Let's find Ben Smith. What are your thoughts on not running oil control rings for reduction of friction? I think it's a terrible idea.
Terrible idea.
Terrible idea.
Yeah. One, it's going to smoke like mad. The other thing is the cylinder wall won't be evenly coated, will it? Because that's generally what the oil control ring really does.
We played around with 2-ring pistons with the fuel car, where it's just an oil ring and one stainless ring.
Compression ring.
That didn't work out.
No, really? No. Well, for fuel, yeah, I imagine it's the cylinder pressure in that thing's super high, right?
Yeah, it was a mess.
I've seen guys running naturally aspirated motors with one, where they take the second compression ring out, but they smoke like mad.
Let's see. Gene Winfield is still going. Yep, I met Gene Winfield. We actually did a little video on that about a month ago, 2 months ago. Most of Sitting Madness. Thank you, sir. I could never be mad at you. My stupid orange box on the list said 50 miles, and then you find out it maxed out at 4,500. What's the box for Dragways? You were that okay? So people are like, why do you stick with points? Why are you a points guy? Well, there you go. There's exactly why. Because you cannot buy reliable ignition parts anymore. Orange box.
It's electronics.
550 miles done, and it maxed out at 4,500 RPM. I know all about it.
So I'll tell you what I've known. For a long time, drag racers, when you're talking about MSD box, right? Or in his case, it's the Chrysler Orange box.
Which I've never in my life used an MSD box. I cannot imagine a situation where I would ever consider using an MSD box.
A lot of racers used to say, yeah, you keep a second one with the car, right? Inherently, that's what you got to buy is 2 ignition boxes, so you can make a race weekend. The other thing is, if you look at, let's say, 90s NASCAR. I don't know how they are today because I have not watched a NASCAR race in like 20 years. But they used to have 2 ignition boxes mounted on the dash with a toggle switch to where if that sucker died going around the track, you just flip the switch and you're right onto your second box. Hey, they work great. But when you're going to have 2 of them, you start questioning, is it really making that much more power?
Richard Hollingsworth. I'm a big fan of the first generation Firebirds. The overhead valve sprint motor, it's actually overhead cam. What do you know about it? Why can I not find any stuff about people doing things with them?
Oh, man, I love that motor.
I love that motor. I've told the story a bunch of times. When I was a mechanic in the 70s as a kid, I had a customer that had a Tempest that had that engine, the 4-barrel version with a 4-speed. And that car was just pure magic. It wasn't the fastest thing, right? But everything about it, the sound, the feel, just everything, it was pure magic. Why people didn't do it? The motor was ahead of its time. There were some people back in the day that screwed around with them, but the whole concept was kind of ahead of its time. And the bottom end of the motor didn't really support what the top end of the motor was capable of, because the bottom end of the motor was just a regular Chevy straight 6.
There's a guy offering the Buick guy needs my 430 in parts. Yeah, no problem. Where you at, Randall? I'll come pick him up. I love that Pontiac overhead. There's the overhead cam version, right? I saw one in a junkyard one day. It was sitting all by itself. And I had never seen one before in my life, right? And it had that really good-looking aluminum valve cover that said PMD, and I think it said like overhead cam or OHC maybe, right? And it had a big, I think it was aluminum intake manifold with a 4-barrel quadrijet set up on it. And I'm thinking, what the hell did that come in, right?
It had a beautiful cast exhaust header.
Oh, it was such a good-looking motor. And they, from what I could find, they were very, very responsive to any kind of performance mods at all.
Fritz Caddy, was Eddie Hill the first to 300 miles an hour? Yes, and I was there. That was at the Texas Motorplex in 1988.
NASCAR uses computer-controlled fuel injection systems now, similar to modern vehicles. Yeah, I don't know what kind of ignition that they use now, though.
SD, what is the difference, if any, between a 10-bolt axle and other GM 10 bolts? Are they stronger?
Yeah, actually, the Buick 10-bolt is stronger. They're supposed to be as strong as a 12-bolt GM, but they're
a lower pinion.
And it has like the availability of gears, the availability of center sections, of posi units are like unobtainium. Shims for them, unobtainium. They're so hard to come by for parts. If you got one that's in good shape, throw it in there, especially if it's got some gears in it.
Go Garage, $10. Thank you, sir. Have you ever met Tom Perito from Moonlight Garage in Hyde Park? No, I haven't. Was a big time race back in the day. Had been working my 12-bolt. Great guy. No, there were so many people around, and I've met so many people. Like maybe I know in my face, but I couldn't tell you. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Aren't the axles different too on that?
The axles are different. The Buicks, some of the later ones had bolt-in axles. BOP 10-bolt. It's actually a really good unit, but they're just so hard to find parts for.
Neil Powers, love the show. Thank you. I got a question. After getting a Crate 460 carbed engine at 500 miles, we changed the oil. Should it be really dirty?
Oh, you might have it too rich.
Yeah, you probably got it too rich. And I don't know what break-in oils they used. So, is the oil actually dirty? Does it have an odor to it? Or is it just the break-in oil that they used is a darker color? I don't know. But no, it should not be dirty.
It should be like it's almost clean, to be honest with you. Is a Rampage worth a Shelby GLH swap? Hell yeah, it is. That's cool. I like them just because of the Rampage, right? The the only Mopar El Camino.
Off-roadigans. I'm getting into the off-road thing, man. How do you feel about Roadkill calling you out and calling you a liar? How do I feel about one of the two is a nice guy, and he called me and apologized for that whole situation. The other guy is a fucking asshat, and that's all I got to say about him. Mr. Bucks, thank you.
Yeah, he's asking, now that you turned me on to redoing my Buick 350 4-barrel and my 72 LeSabre convertible, what do you think I should do to make about 300 to 325 horsepower? That's a torquey motor, but smooth with overdrive 342 gears. Well, okay. Yeah, well, the 350 Buick, you're in luck. In 1970, came with 315 horse, right? And then 410 foot-pounds of torque. So virtually it's just, if you really want to do it on a budget yourself, you need about 9-to-1 compression because that'll still be very streetable on pump gas. And then TA 212 camshaft, and do a little work, on the intake manifold. You don't have to go nuts on it. Just clean up some of the boogers and the openings. Make sure everything is pretty much port matched, and you should be able to do it.
Okay.
I hope that helped him out.
You never really know.
No, not really.
Okay. Nader, have you run the newer Edelbrock ABS2 carburetor? No, I haven't. It seems like the perfect blend with the spread bore and the annual boosters. ABS2 is no, it's no more of a spread bore than the AFB. And it has slightly smaller primary bores. The difference is the AFB version of the Edelbrock version of the AFB has a weight over the secondaries, where the ABS has a flapper door like a thermal quad or like a quadrajet.
So here's something I just noticed. Kevin says, I just heard today while ordering heads that Dart Machinery has lost her foundry.
Good possibility.
That's terrible.
Good possibility. There's a lot of bad stuff going. Guys, get ready for Cuban hot rodding because it's coming.
Yeah, well, hold on to them. Them cast iron heads everybody used to throw away?
Yep.
Get ready to hold on to them suckers.
Seriously, start hoarding the speed stuff because it's coming to an end real fast. And I'm looking forward to it, honestly. Charles Manson, personally, I'm a bigger fan of cubic and hot rodding. Yeah, that's the way it started out. You know what I mean? Hot rodding was all about working with the stuff that you have and tweaking and studying and getting in there and doing all the nitty gritty yourself. And then, it became a money game. It became so you know what? As far as I'm concerned, all the aftermarket can go away, and guys who want to race cars are still going to race cars. And it means that the guy with the biggest, the biggest will and the sharpest wits is the one who's going to win the races. And I'm looking forward to it.
I don't think it's going to go all that bad. To be honest with you, no, I don't think it's going to go all that bad at all. I mean, think about it. We go Cuban hot rodding, right?
Yep.
Where did drag racing really start from? There was no cams. There was no parts. There was no tires. You had to start from somewhere. Well, now you already know how some of this stuff works. Right? So it's going to be fun, especially if you can build something for on the cheap. Really on the cheap.
Evan M., thank you, sir. For some reason, my 2-barrel Holly off my 81 D150 is letting gas in uncontrollably. I checked the bead and inside the car, but I can't find the fuel adjustment. All right, which 2-barrel? You got to be very specific now. Which 2-barrel Holly?
And did this just start happening recently? Like it was working fine before, and now all of a sudden it's crap? Because if that's the case, it might be a bad float.
Well, let's see what Holly it is. Pure stress. How about some of these guys that can 3D print and cast? Yes. All different. The old school is on its way out. The new school is coming in, and people who can 3D print stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Heck yeah. Well, that's what I like is 3D printing some internal molds, right? That would be a 2280 Holly, I bet. That's what Matt S is saying. And where's the guy?
Oh, okay. It was working. The float seems to work. It's a Holly 500, I think. Okay, so it's a 2300 series carburetor. You have a bad O-ring. Okay, take the needle and seat out, right? You could also have an intermittently bad needle and seat, but yeah, there's check the O-rings on the needle and seat assembly when you take it out of there, and now if it's sealed, because some of them don't have the external.
I don't know. I'm lost. All you had to do was say Holly, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the background. I would definitely take a look at the needle and seat, the O-ring around the seat, or the float. Those are the three things that I would almost bet money on.
Another possibility with Holly is a warped main body or a warped metering block.
Does those things have a metering block on them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 2300 series has a metering block.
And then Chuck Howard keeps saying pinhole in the gas line.
I don't know where that's coming from.
I don't know either. It's been on here about 42,000 times.
The Bead Seals. What's a bead?
Oh, he's probably talking about the needle and seat. He's probably blowing through the inlet of the carburetor.
Yeah. It could still be a bad O-ring. It could still be a bad O-ring.
The float moves freely. That has nothing to do with it. You can get a float that'll actually sink. They'll get filled with fuel, and they'll sink.
Or for Odigans, when are you going to give us a video of you smashing on the XJ? Tomorrow, I have to. Well, I found a busted frame where the track bar mounts on the driver's side. The frame rail is cracked there, so I've got to weld that all up. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to get it out wheeling as quickly as possible. I'm really looking forward to that.
So now you're on this XJ thing. This reminds me. I talked about the two-door sport gasser.
Yeah.
All right. I think we need to do it, and then like on the cheap.
Okay.
And we'll call it the Hex J, right? And and that's another thing. So before you go run bottle rocket this weekend,
yeah,
we're gonna stop at the church and we're gonna get some freaking holy water poured in the radiator.
Holy water.
Yeah.
Dave Larson, what's tomorrow's video gonna be? Sneak peek. Well, I can tell. Here's a sneak peek. There's at least 2 Oldsmobile videos coming later on this week. Probably Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday. But there's definitely 2 heavy Oldsmobile videos coming. Tomorrow, I'm not sure. I may do something with the frame on the XJ.
We're also doing Gasser's video on the AHRA Drag Racing History channel.
Joe Brennan, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of the 67 GTX. Andy seems like a really cool dude. Well, funny you bring that up, because Andy is an avid Oldsmobile collector. He has the most incredible Olds 442 convertible that he'll have here tomorrow night for judging at an Oldsmobile show that's happening here in Murfreesboro. So
we should go crash that.
We are, yeah.
You are?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can I tag along?
Of course.
Hey, Ruckworth's will holy water melt down
It's possible.
The power of Christ compels you. Oh.
Okay. Hemi Kuda, Street Feek Valiant. Short the red doors, shave the outside door handles, will look badass. No. I already made it. I already shortened. I already got one door on there. I don't want anything. I want it to look like a regular, Valiant 2-door sedan body. This FUBAR, dropping the link again for AHR online merch, where you can buy all sorts of things. T-shirts.
You can get the posters, decals.
Yeah.
We're going to actually have some more stuff here coming soon. It's taken me like 3 months, but I finally got some shirts.
He's got shirts. He's got decals.
I'm going to have hats too.
Hats. And if you order the package, if you order everything, tonight, Dallas will come to your house and neuter your cat.
Yeah. Just like when they send in the Marines and they're coming in parachute, that's exactly how I get to your house with scalpel in hand.
Okay. Tony Romo, Plan Z, return to take to the Drags. September 5th, the Slanted Nationals, the AHRA Slanted Nationals at Sikeston, Missouri. That's when the car is officially going to the track. I'll be sorting it out before then. So, but I'm not sure exactly what the dates are. But for sure, that car is going to Sikeston, Missouri. September 5th.
Hopefully, at least a week or two before you can go shake it down.
Yep.
At Buffalo Valley.
I think I'll just shake it down.
Right in front of the shop.
It's low enough horsepower to do it.
Yeah, it won't be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see, Plan Z is an automatic. I can get it to launch. The bottle rocket, no, there's too much bottom end, and it's a stick, and I cannot get it to bite on pavement.
AHRA thongs. Throttle it up. Wants to know if I got AHRA thongs. No, but I got some ladies' sleeveless booby tees.
Mark Warts wants to know what the story is with the Scooby-Doo van behind the shop. That's where they keep it when they're not
solving crimes. You know, it's funny that my son, he's 6 years old, right? He's now found Scooby-Doo. And it's like every morning when he wakes up, he's on the 60 Scooby-Doos, right? And now as an adult watching him, I'm like, oh my God, these episodes are like every single one of them's the same. You know,
yeah.
It's that guy, the one guy you met. Come on.
Throttle it up. His sweetie's placing an order. He wants his cat neutered.
Oh, all right.
Shoot us your address, and he'll be there. And
the only bad part about coming in on a parachute is if I drop my scalpel, I only have the option to use it like my pocket knife or my teeth. And it's
Dakota
terrible.
wants to know, are 2-door and 4-door darts the same length and wheelbase? Yes, they are. They're exactly the same. They're 111-inch wheelbase, 2-door or 4-door. And the only difference, it really is the roof. The 2-door cars have a low roof. The 4-door cars and the 2-door sedans have a high roof.
SD saying, Tony, you and Dallas make a good team. This is my favorite live stream. Ours too, believe it or not. Keep it going and keep coming up with new ideas to make it grow. Actually, you have another live stream, so you might like that one more. I don't know.
What's that?
That's your Sunday Night Live.
Oh, yeah,
But that's normally Buff, right?
Well, Buff hasn't been around forever because he's got that secret government contract.
Oh, I know. He's still, killing commies for your mommy, doing all that stuff.
Well, not just that, but he's a liaison between the Palladians and the Zetas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, conflicting alien
life forms, huh?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Doug Norton, we caught the bad guys. Let's see who it is from Moose Mask. Wow, it's Brian Cabral. How is he doing? I haven't seen anything from him lately. Is he still at it? I love that guy.
Oh, that's cool. Mr. Will's asking, Tony, can I drag race you and bottle rocket when my 76 Coronet police package is done next spring?
Sure.
We might take it maybe if you come on down to Murfreesboro, we'll head over to Mexico and we'll let the two eat.
J-Man, is the 4.0 Ice Straight 6 a Crico or AMC design? It's an AMC design. And it actually has its basic roots in the 1965 Typhoon 6, which, if you know the 1960s and 1970s AMCs, the straight 6 AMC motors were like the best in the business. They were just, and there was actually a guy named Case Sissel who ran a dragster with a complementator dragster with 2 inline AMC motors. But yeah, it's an AMC design that was carried over by Chrysler, and it's just a thing of beauty and wonder.
Brent Nixon's asking, do you guys recommend a good online, where do you recommend a good online resource for Mopar engine swaps? Man, you might have to do a lot of that old school, or you talk to your buddies that have done it before.
Troy Wagon says Scotty Kilmer referred you to this channel. Go Scotty Kilmer. J-Man, I know of the Hurricane 6, which was a flatty. Yeah, the Typhoon is what followed the Hurricane, and the Typhoon morphed into all of the 232, the 242,
the 258,
and then it was a slight redesign, just a slight redesign, and they ended up with 4.0, and then they also spun off a 4-cylinder from that.
So everybody has all these conspiracy theories about Brian Cabral now, but my favorite one is, why do you think Buff is not here? Buff actually is in charge of kidnapping and then waterboarding Brian Cabral.
Is that a fact?
I think that's what's going on.
Okay. J-Man had a 66 770 with a 232. Then you know how sweet they are. And that's what only way to describe it. Just sweet engines.
Mikuda says, big enough hammer, hot enough torches, any engine fits anything.
French Onion says Cabral is back. His first comeback video is hilarious. He let all the Uncle Tony hate build up and was just going berserk.
Maybe he should do that, like, what do they call that? Well, I don't know. Never mind. We'll wait.
Vinny wants to know, what do you think of the Buick Fireball 8 engines? I love them. I'm trying to get my hands on one just to play with.
Fireball 8s? Is this talking about the straight 8s? I think that's the Fireball 8, right? The Fireball V8 was the 215 and later, I believe.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because the Fireball V6. But the Buick small block, we've done a lot of stories. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of videos that Tony and I have done on Tony's page about the small block Buick. There's one in there that talks about the complete history of the 215, the V6. It's all from the same.
Fireball straight 8.
Oh, the Fireball straight 8. I don't really know much about them. They're like way before my time.
Cold War Motors. I think they've done some stuff with those Cold War Motors. Great channel, by the way. I know they did a Packard and Buick straight 8 shootout at some point. But yeah, you might want to check that out.
Now I do know there is a straight 8 land speed record car. Every year it's like a Studebaker with a straight 8 Buick in it. Or it might be an early Buick, but I think it's a Studebaker with a straight 8 Buick in it.
Okay.
And they're running, they're land speed record chasing with that sucker.
T, you think you'll do a 4.0 stroker build to 4.6? Possibly. I have that white Cherokee that's got a totally lunched engine, and I'm still up in the air what I want to do with that. Charles Gorton, Dallas, for your AHRA thing. I know you're looking for tracks. Look into the old Pocono Drag Lodge outside of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Been abandoned for years. Might be worth the research.
Yeah, I don't think that one can be resurrected, though. That's the biggest problem. They've had a lot of people that have attempted to, but it usually gets shot down with zoning, I believe.
Hey, Uncle Tom,
but I'll check it out.
Do you know the Slant 6 was used in combines? It was used in all sorts of stationary water pumps and hair dryers, and you name it. They use that engine everywhere.
Oh. Vince Renters, hello from New Jersey. I turned on Motor Trend TV at lunch today and watched Ian R. make a 2-door 55 Oldsmobile out of a 4-door.
Yeah, I saw that. That's an old episode. But yeah, I think Ian is my spirit animal, I think. I've been channeling Ian a lot. I hope he knows he's got a huge fan right here.
Have either one of you built a rotary engine? No, I've always wanted to.
No.
I just want to see how much boost they'll take. I know they'll take a ton. Okay. What the heck? Staying with 6-cylinder slant 6, my 68 Cuda fastback. I'm looking for a 3.8 Buick Pontiac supercharger. All right, you can get those things all day long on Marketplace. It's an Eaton M90 supercharger. Just make sure you put. It needs like an intercooler or a water to air aftercooler. I mean, those suckers built some heat.
Dave Larson, Uncle Tony, if you could slant swap anything, what would it be? I did a Miata. How much more out of the box slant swap could you possibly come up with? What do you think of the Ford Y blocks? They're interesting old engines, but very unorthodox porting. The way they've got
the ports on top of each other.
Yeah, the ports are on top of the Y. Only Ford, right? So Yeah, there's not much you could do with them, but they're cool restoration motors. You know what I mean? They'll get a car down the road just as well as anything else will.
They want you to slantify the world now.
Maybe I should. You know, the thing is, the 4.0 is such a good engine.
No, it can't be improved upon.
It can't. Yeah, like I thought about science swapping the. See, okay, so I have a white XJ, and the body on this thing is absolutely pristine, no rust, no nothing. So, but it's got a totally blown up motor. It's a 2-wheel drive truck. So Jeep. I keep calling it a truck. It's a Jeep. So I've run the gamut. I mean, I'm leaning towards just doing a restoration, but I've considered. I mean, every 10 minutes I come up with a different idea. Magnum swap it, Hemi swap it, slant swap it. You know, to do an AMC, you know, a V8, a 304, a 360. Like every time I turn around, I'm like, another idea pops up in my head, which is a terrible thing.
Vince Rencher says, put a slant 6 in a Tesla. Oh, man, I could see the EPA dudes crying right now.
Who's the guy? Rich Rebuilds, I think his name is. Yeah.
A slant 6 in a Tesla?
Yeah, we could do a collaboration. We'll put a slant 6 in one.
That would be absolutely awesome, to tell you the truth. I mean, it would be.
Need metal. The CBX makes more power than a 170 slant. The CBX is a fairly sophisticated engine.
Oh, Wayne Walleye, 346 pack was the most potent small block street engine ever made. I'm gonna go out on a limb and disagree with you here, Wayne. And I know that Tony might smack me, but it's the best one. I was gonna say Cleveland. The Cleveland family would be the most potent small block ever made. But you could do a Boss 302 would be the same way.
Yeah.
It's the heads. The heads are magic. I'm telling you, they are magic.
Drive a Tesla into a lake. What would happen if you drove a Tesla into a lake?
I don't know. The very first time I saw one at the drag strip was like 2015.
Yeah.
There was race cars running all day, right? And this guy shows up, air conditioning on, the whole 9 yards, stereo playing. It's not leaking water, nothing. Runs down the track, runs like a 640. Right? These dudes, their jaw was just on the ground. Like, oh, God. So I ran over there and I started giving the guy a bunch of crap. I said, hey, you got a battery hold down on this? Right? He didn't get it. Like, I don't know what you mean by that. Well, okay. You need a few more gas clunkers.
Wayne Walleye, which state would you say has the most classic cars on the road? I don't know.
Oh, I'd say it used to be California, but I don't know where the heck they're at today. I bet you there's a bunch of Teslas and what's the other? Prius. About 1 billion Priuses on the road.
My experience is that Ohio always seems to have the most of everything. It's the one place nobody really talks about, but Ohio always seems to have the most of everything.
All right. Daniel Bull is asking, question for Dallas. What do you know about the Buick Oddfire V6? My great-grandfather bought a 65 CJ5 4x4 with this engine. Brand new. I've heard the flywheel is 75 pounds. I don't know how heavy the flywheel is because there's very few Buicks that came with a manual transmission. You generally had to get it with a special. But the Oddfire V6 is literally the 215 V8 with a cylinder cut off. It's technically a 300 Buick with 2 cylinders cut off the back.
We did a whole video on this. If you go back, what was it called?
The most versatile engine ever made.
Yeah. Go just search Buick on this channel, and you'll see that we did a whole thing on that engine and its evolution and all of its various. Mr. Will, thank you, sir. Still looking for 85 to 87 olds 442. Prices are crazy, not many for sale. Well, they don't really make many of them. Monte SSs are crazy also because they're beautiful, beautiful cars. Why are 80s cars prices out of control? Because they're the last of the real car.
Yeah, it's the next on the step, the chopping block. If you want to know something that's really budget friendly now, if you're just a young guy and you're getting into hot rodding, probably the best kept secret is the 73 through 77 GM Colonnade body style, right?
They're heavy.
Well, they are heavy, but God, some of them, like the seats, you could have seats in this sucker that would swivel out when you turn to get out of the car, right?
Yeah, but that's not a good thing for hot rodding.
It's not a good thing for hot rodding, but they're cheap
because they're really heavy
and they suck, but they're cool. They are cool. They got good rear
frames
ends in them.
Rust like
They
crazy.
do rust bad. Those cars do rust bad. But for a good price, the G body's gone up exponentially, and a lot of it I would have to say is because of the Grand National, especially the GNXs when they were pulling 90 grand.
Off-road against, well, putting 318 heads on my 360 helped me on the trails. It actually might. You know, you would be increasing the motor's off idle. You know, that actually could be a decent trail modification. Mopar Den, what's happening, brother, man? Did you watch your video where you shed your love of this Mopar small block V8? These three for a daily driver, which one would it be? The 273, 318, or 240? Well, I mean, one of my daily drivers is a 273, and I absolutely love that engine. It was just happy, but the 318 is a better. If I had to just pick, you know, like okay, I can only have one daily driver small block, it would be a 318, just because they're the perfect daily driver engine.
Somebody just said that electric cars are smog exempt in California.
Are they?
And now it might be the perfect potential swap car to put a 360 Magnum in. Because now you've actually beat California at their own game. The game that they were going after the hot rodder,
right.
And now you're taking their pride and joy and cramming some,
I could see that.
Dinosaur sauce guzzling, heathen engine into this.
No, here's the thing though. I bet you if you once you strip the battery pack out of a Tesla,
yeah,
I bet you they're pretty light.
Oh, they got to be. No motor and battery pack.
Right.
That car would have to weigh easily less than 2,000 pounds.
Which of the big three had the toughest auto trans? Torque Flight. Period.
Turbo 400.
Torque Flight.
Really? You think so? Isn't those the ones that blow up and all their guts come out the bottom?
That's a specific situation that happens.
And I've seen them flip the sprag and blow the whole drum right at the top.
That's how they get damaged.
Oh,
that's how they get damaged. They flip the sprag, then they blow. But the Turbo 400, good transmission. Turbo 400 makes a lot more heat.
It does. I like them because if you think about it, Turbo 400, one, I'm very biased, Buick's crap. It was developed by Buick engineers, right? And it was actually called the Super Turbine 400 when it came out in '64. But GM adopted that transmission and used it across their whole line in a couple years later. But the big one was they sold them to Bentley, the Rolls-Royce, Jaguar. They had them in buses and grain trucks. I mean, they're in everything.
Brian M. says Rich Rebuilds is building an LS swap for Tesla Model S.
That's cool.
I have to check that out. Does he have video up on that? It's been a long time since I watched any of his videos. But is there something on his channel about that? Aaron Hinkley says hello to us.
Hey. Danny Boyd says 351 Cleveland is pretty much a small block or a mid block. It's a small block.
Ford C6, you can run the piano. The Ford, anybody I've ever known who's messed with Ford C6s has learned to hate Ford C6s. I've never actually run one myself, but. Or Ford goes, Tony, do you like Vice Garage? I speak with Derek occasionally. Yes, he's a great guy. We do two completely different things. And we have talked about doing some sort of collaboration. And I think that I'm going to hit him up about doing something. I'd like to do a telethon, Labor Day telethon, raise some money for a couple of different causes, and I think I'm going to message him about that. But yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy.
Wayne Walleye, have you guys done an LS 6.0 supercharger yet? No, we'll never do an LS anything probably.
Simon Cochran has a BMW X3 with a 3 of what do you think? It's out of my realm, man. I'm a hot rod guy. I don't really know BMWs very much. Do you know anything about those cars?
Nope.
Yes, you were hot rodders, you know.
I took a Mercedes and we took the Mercedes engine out and put a Buick 350 in. Yeah. So I'm like the furthest guy to ask from that stuff.
Archer Fiddler, there's a story that Rolls-Royce put the turbo 400 engines and rebuilt them themselves to make sure Smog
Transmissions, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they bought them and then they leaked afterwards. They leaked and stopped working. I don't know. That's a funny story if that's the case.
Penny's Hot Rod Customs. Have you bought any with Jeeps in the last day or two? No, not today. You know, I haven't bought any Jeeps today.
Hey, you got any more of them Jeeps laying around? Like,
right?
Yeah, I gotta get my fix.
Come on, you got a Jeep, right? Right? I have an XJ. Oh, please. I'm looking. Today I was on Facebook looking for like local XJ clubs that I can join. I'm all about I love
I'm telling you, I want to do one the Hex J. I want to make it gas or like old school Halibrands, and I think it would be so cool.
I spent a little time on the Eep Hero. That's that lifted one that I bought.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got to weld the frame. The frame is cracked, so I got to weld the frame on that thing. I'll probably do it tomorrow. But I spent some time on it. I cleaned the wheels. I used this. John Wilburn came by and he gave me cases of this wheel cleaner, and it didn't seem to work on anything. But I said, well, on a whim, let me try it on the Eep.
Jeep.
Yeah, the Eep.
Oh, the Eep.
It's the Eep Hero.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, spritz, hose it off like brand new,
huh?
Yeah. And I went and I got implement paint. I have discovered the wonder of implement paint. I've always heard people talk about implement paint.
Is that like the stuff I'm using up there? The farm implement paint?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's how I do my blocks.
Holy shit. I don't like the black doors. I was like, I just want it to be one color. I don't care if it's a good color or not. I just want it to be one color. So I was at Tractor Supply and they had red implement paint that looked like, and I was like, I keep hearing about implement paint. Let me see how this stuff works. The finish is incredible. It's beautiful.
It lays down nice.
It lays down. Yeah, it sprays out thick, and it lays down. I swear to God, it even has like orange peel. It looks like a factory paint.
Yeah, Marco Cicerelli is asking, you remember the switch pitch? I do. I'm actually building one. Well, I will eventually build one with amongst my other 72,000 projects and running the AHRA. But I'll get one built and put in my Suburban. I'm going to switch pitch that sucker with the gear vendors is my plan.
Whether it needs it or not.
I think, what'd you call it? The Eep Hero. So does the doors kind of match now with the implement paint?
Yeah, it's all red.
All right.
Yeah, and the what is it now? Is it Massey Ferguson red?
Uh-huh.
I think that's the one I used. Exactly matches the AMC red.
And that's what guys always ask me, that like on the Buick forums and stuff like that. Like they'll always ask, hey, what do you use for Buick red paint? Well, my dad back in the 80s taught me that International red is a dead ringer for Buick, right? And so what I do is it's actually like a shade dark. So what I do is I undercoat it with a little bit like a red orange, and then nail it with that International Harvester red, and it comes out dead on.
Gun Library Garrett, thank you, sir. Local shop has done my Ford C4 transmission pan 5 times, trying 3 different ones. Should I maybe start thinking about the whole house?
I haven't seen them warped, but I'll tell you what I have seen. If you have an aftermarket, C4, for those that don't know, is the only automatic I've seen with a bolt-on bell housing.
Yep.
Is that the only one?
Well, I think they're all this, but they're more obscure.
Okay. That bolt-on bell housing, depending on where you get the bell housing from, some aftermarket ones have clearance issues with the pan. And they'll push the pan off like 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's the best that I could come up with, but I've seen it. And I have a C4 in my race car, and it did exactly that.
It's Big Wilbur. John Wilburn. Hello, Jungle Tony. Hello, Dallas.
Oh, it's Junkle Tony now. It's not even Drunkle.
It's Junkle Tony.
Oh, all right.
We're doing a podcast. John Wilburn and I are doing a podcast called Junkle Tony and Big Wilbur in the morning. So we'll be talking about YouTube videos, right? So look for that within the next week or so.
Are you guys just screening new YouTube videos? Oh, here, go ahead, take care of that.
It's Drag Boss Garage told me $20. Thank you, man. I so appreciate that. I'm going to be on Drag Boss Garage's show on.
I don't know. Next week?
He worked it out with Kathy. I don't even know when I'm supposed to be on his show.
But you are going to be on there.
I am going to be there. I swear to God. Yeah, Kathy handles all of that stuff. I don't even know.
Well, so what are you guys doing here? Are you screening new YouTube videos and then giving your take on it?
We're going to be talking about automotive YouTube videos. There's so many of them, and who can really watch them all?
Right.
So we're gonna each every morning, right?
Okay.
We're each gonna pick a video and critique it.
Man, I'll tell you what. And at the end of the month, you guys got to do like. Did you ever used to watch the TV show that they called MXC?
No.
Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. It was on Spike TV when that was a network. That's what with TNN became Spike TV, right? And the MXC was an old 80s Japanese TV show called Takashi's Castle.
Okay.
And it was about a bunch of people doing these ridiculous like it's a dang it, what do they call that dang thing?
Oh, these people know Chris Freemasser, Gideon Wallace is MXC is the best. You know, like that.
I can't remember what the heck they call it. It's a obstacle course. That's what it is. They're doing these obstacle courses. Well, what they do is they take it, like, say, 4 American people, and they dub over all the Japanese talk, right?
Okay.
And they just put in whatever, right? It is so raunchy. So
I'm going to have to check that out.
So crazy.
Right over Pro 66. Thank you, my evil friend. Pure Stress sent $2. What if you took a random view suggested car vid? I have no idea what you mean by that.
Just anywhere.
I don't know. Drag Boss Garage says, yes, Tony, 7 p.m. your time. That's Monday, right? So 7 p.m. Central Time on Monday will be on Drag Boss Garage's show. I'm looking forward to that. Because anybody whose name is Drag Boss Garage. Oh, Kathy showed me a picture. You got a Cougar and this thing is standing on the bumper? Is that your car? Bruce Jones wants to know how old I am. I'm old enough to know better.
Well, you've smoked roll your own cigarettes for 20 years, and he's only 22.
I'm 59. I'm 59.
Yeah, we got to do something with that, huh? Well, as I was getting to on the MXC show, they used to do a rundown of their favorite 10 things that happened on that show, right?
Okay.
And so I think that's what you and John Wilbur should do is you take your favorite 10 and rate them, and you give them like an award.
Okay, we can do that. Yeah, definitely. I like that idea. Drag Boss Garage, that is your Cougar. Bro, that's bitching, man. Rider of a Pale Horse turned 65 today. It's nice to see somebody older than me. You know,
why is he sending you money on his birthday? We should be sending you a beer or something for your
seriously,
birthday.
Happy birthday, big brother. John Wilburn says, I'm 21,639 days old. And I took 6 of them off. Drag Boss guy, that one's 960. That's beautiful, man. That's too cool.
Oh, dude, that's about what my T-Bird runs.
Edward Gomez. That's my old friend Eddie. Is that Eddie Gomez? Yeah, look at that. That's my old friend Eddie Gomez, who's been working on the same car for 45 years. Have you finished the car, Eddie?
Bruce Jones says, is a 66 Belvedere hardtop worth fixing up? Well, besides having the best roof line in the business, yes. I would be all over that sucker. Isn't that one? That's one of the beautiful Belvederes. Is the hardtop? Yeah, the two-door hardtops. Like what's the '67 GTX in there, right?
That's like one of my favorite body styles.
I agree. I'm not even a Mopar guy, and I think it's got the most beautiful roof line ever made.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, the hardtop is beautiful too. I mean, the hardtop with that diamond, you know, that swept. Oh, they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. I look at the GTXs in the shop all the time and just marvel over the beauty of that. But in my mind, the sedan in that body is just bad looking car. Eddie Gomez, you're going to get 3 done in 3 months? I know Eddie. Eddie, how many years do we know each other, Eddie? Right?
He says he has a 67X. Is that a GTX?
Yeah, he has a 67 GTX. He has a 70 Satellite. He's got a bunch of different cars. It's Zero. I didn't even see Zero sneak in.
Well, Zero. What's funny is Zero chimes in when he's like, Dallas, everyone should be a Mopar guy. Just saying, ha, ha, ha. Well, and the funny thing, did I ever tell you my very first car I ever bought was a 68 Barracuda 340 Formula S, right? 4-speed car. Oh, it was somebody had sanded it down like they were going to paint the car and then rolled it outside.
And just left it.
And it sat there for 15 years, I swear.
Oh, Ari's also there. You guys are just hiding. You're keeping a low profile. Eddie says that we met when I was 16. So there's a guy who knows me for, oh God, my God, 45 years, right? 44 years.
Okay, Ron Butts is saying I race a 462 Buick SP Pistons.
Speed Pro.
Oh, Speed Pro Pistons, okay. And fitted pins to 1000 clearance. I just bought a used 464 with Weisco flat tops, and they use stock and are getting tight. What should pin clearance be?
What should pin clearance be on that?
Oh man, I don't know. Because generally, if you look at factory specs, right? Factory specs are going to be different than a forged piston spec because that forged piston swells considerably more.
Yeah, but it's the clearance in the pin, no?
He's talking about the pin and the piston,
small
right?
end of the rod.
Right.
It's a floating.
Could be
You're talking about a floating. Is it a floating pin or is it a press pin?
Well, they're both. If they're original Buick stuff, they'll be pressed.
And fitted pins to one side. No, okay. I just want to use Weisco flat tops with stock rods that are getting tight. What should pin clearance be? Is it the pin clearance between the rod and the pin, or is it a press pin and the clearance between the piston and the pin? And the only correct answer to that could be found by the piston manufacturer. Like we can just throw out random numbers. Like I tell you, it's 4 inches, and it makes no difference, right? You actually have to go to the piston manufacturer because they know the expansion characteristics
of that
piston, exactly. So
yeah.
They're the only people who you can ask and get a good answer. Adam Rassler, what did I use for a drive shaft in Bottle Rocket? It's the stock drive shaft. It's the stock drive shaft, whatever the stock drive shaft happened to be.
All right. So Ron Butts says, yes, they are used pressed rods, pistons, and pins. So he's talking about
the pin clearance to the piston. You have to contact Weisco. You can't go by any other number than what that piston manufacturer is going to recommend.
And I imagine that Speed Pro is probably less clearance than that Weisco because the Speed Pros are heavy.
Right.
So it's more of a heat sink. Pontiac Cruiser from the 60s. Lobo GTX is asking me, what's my favorite? I think Tony might have talked about this. I'm like a closet freak when it comes to GM full-size 2-door cars from that era. Right? So like 60 to, I could even go as far as like 67, 68. I love all of the GM full-size 2-door cars because you could get some mean motors in just that full-size 2-door.
Devil plays bass. Would an Edelbrock STR 15.4 fit on a Dodge 383? I really like the course I'm going to take, but was told it may not fit properly. Thanks for your help. It's you got one of two choices on that. It's either going to be for a low deck motor, which would be a 361, 383, 400, or a tall deck motor, 413, 426, 440. So I don't know which one that is. If it's for an RB motor, it's not going to fit. If it's for a B motor, it will fit.
Off-Road Agains is asking, can I put 410 gears in a 9 1/4 axle that has 355s? I don't see why not.
Yeah. I mean, you should have the carrier brake is the carrier is going to be the same up there. The carrier brake on the 9 1/4 is down like 290 gear. Uses a different carrier, 290 and down. So yeah, you should. It'll bolt right on there. But get a good look at the 9 1/4. All the 9 1/4s I've come across have pin problems. The cross shaft wears into the carrier, and the spider gears are just sloppy. And keep every one of those I ever opened.
That's probably why they wear so bad then.
Yeah, every 9 1/4 I ever opened up was just junk. And he says the STR 15 is a B. Well, then it'll work. Amdusius 66. Thank you, sir. Uncle Tony, are you a Mopar purist, or do you believe in Mopar spirit, thinking Miata? I infused the Mopar spirit into the Miata.
You impregnated the Miata with Mopar.
Yes. and yeah, okay. Okay, here's the thing. I'm familiar with all makes, all American makes, some foreign. In my own world, I am a Mopar purist, but I work on everything. I learn about everything. I you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a double-edged thing. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Dallas, what's your favorite
Dallas
Olds
is a
engine?
Mopar.
My favorite Olds engine. I don't know, the ones I like are the ones with the weird camshafts. I like the 330 and the 425, and it's only because really they came with steel cranks and they were meant for racing.
Joe K, besides the Miata, what else would you like to Moparify? A Jaguar.
Jaguar?
Yeah. Yeah, I think at some point I'd like to do a Jaguar.
Like what year Jaguar?
See, that's the thing. It changes all the time.
Are you talking like the beautiful one from the 60s?
And E-Type? No.
Because that would be, I was going to say, that would be kind of sacrilegious.
Yeah,
it needs like that 3.8 or 4.0 or whatever it was.
No, that's something like that's got to stay all original. So that you can't mess with that. No, a later model Jag.
Oh, like the 80s style
90s.
with the V12s?
Yeah.
Those would be fun. I think you can probably get them cheap. Probably get one pretty cheap. And they're easy to swap a small block Chevrolet in, but they already have a Turbo 400.
Joseph cheating. Yeah, California is going all electric continues. Don't bet on it. Don't bet on that. Off-road again should swap out my 9 1/4 for a Data 64 off-roading. If you're off-roading it, man, just do a Lincoln Locker and then the 9 1/4. You'll never have a problem with the 9 1/4 other than in that spider gear area. So I would just keep that, just weld up the spiders and go kick some dirt up.
If you had to pick a foreign car as your daily, what would you pick? A foreign car.
As my daily?
Yeah, if you were going to daily one. I already know what I think I know what I would do. I think if I'd try to find like either a Ford Cortina or the
nice.
Anglia. Like an Anglia. If you can find a clean older Anglia.
I would like it'd be a nightmare, but I mean a legit Mini, a Morris Mini would be like a really cool thing to.
Yeah, well, it would. They handle like mad. I don't know how well they ride though. They look like they'd be really rough riding. Is that short wheelbase and what are they, like a 12-inch wheel?
Yeah, tiny. It's like a roller. It's literally a roller skate. Well, Barton, thank you.
So the neatest one that I ever seen though that company made was in He sent you some cash for Bottle Rock.
Yeah, I know. Mopar Den is too generous.
Now
Always
you're
too generous.
testing.
We need to get the car to test into an actual test into where we can just track rental. We need to get a track rental going.
You know, that's like $2,200.
$2,200.
Yeah, it's about the average price.
We need to find a couple of guys and get a track rental going.
I have like Uncle Tony's track rental.
Yeah, we should do that.
Huh.
Um,
Well, that'd be US 43. That'd be the closest, right? Or you know what? I wonder if they're open to the Valley, you know, doing a rental.
He doesn't want to do it.
He doesn't.
I
You already asked
told
him?
him. Yeah, I asked him.
Oh, I wonder if US 43 would do it. Etheridge Motorsports Park. Does anybody in here know anybody from Etheridge? Give me a call. We'll try to work out a track rental.
Dragways Garage says we need some Caltrax on the back of the Rocket. I don't think so, man. I'm gonna keep working with the stuff that's there. The fault of Bottle Rockets launching has nothing to do with the car. It has to do with me, because every time I get in the damn car, it's the first time I got in the car, and I've never actually gotten the groove with the thing.
There's a couple guys in for. Here's John Wilburn, Mr. Will. Okay. But Kevin says he works at Vintage Jagworks. Lots of cars out in the yard waiting for you, Tony. Just what you need, another project, right? That you apparently don't finish. Like the Miata or Bottle Rocket or Plan Z. Any drag strips around Watertown, New York? Hey, is this Moderna? Is that near Watertown?
I don't know where Watertown is.
So what I was going to tell you was, you know how you said you wanted a Mini? In Australia, or not in Australia, in Hawaii, they had a Mini Cooper that had no body on it, right? It was literally like an open cockpit Jeep, right? It was called the Mini Moke.
Okay.
Same car as the Mini Cooper, right? But it has no body. It's meant for like open air atmosphere. I'm in Hawaii. That would be bitching to drive.
That would be fun.
It would suck in the winter, but Turbo 4.0 Jeep powered Jaguar. I think that would be a bit heavy.
Pretty cool.
That'd be heavy for that 4-liter.
I was scrolling through video suggestions, and one of them was somebody's up to 840 horsepower out of one of the 4.0s.
Really?
Yeah, thumbnail showed the turbocharged motor, so I guess.
AMC Hornets make great race cars. Ask Wally Booth. Well, I don't know if you can ask Wally Booth anymore, can you? Is he still alive?
Wally Booth? I don't know.
But he had one. Wally Booth had an AMC Hornet. He ran in Pro Stock.
Mr. Well, Tony, since I've been talking about Jeep Cherokees, I've seen 3 for sale. One was right on Texas Road by Englishtown. Go buy it. Everybody should have a Cherokee, an XJ. Everybody on earth should have an XJ. If everybody had an XJ, there would be no problems in the world. You know that? Mopar Den, again. Thank you. Go eat more, $50. No.
Track
stop
rental.
Mopar Den. Thank you. I so appreciate that, but thank you. No, don't send any more money. Thank you.
What's your favorite split back window car? Wayward Garage asks.
My favorite split back window car?
I only know of one.
Well, the Vet, right?
Yeah.
The one that everybody, 63. Geez, I don't know.
Did the Marlin have a big split back window? I know it had that big long back, super duper fast back. Was it split?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's have a UTG track day and do this thing. I'm down with it. I don't have the time to organize it. Somebody else has got to organize it. But yeah, I'm absolutely down. Early VWs had split back windows. That's right.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Tony, XJ or Ram Charger? Oh, no comparison. I had that Ram Charger, and it was just a big, heavy, bulky, heavy thing, big. And
short wheelbase, and they
total
bounce.
Turn off to me. It was nothing about, I tried to want to do something with it. The XJ is the exact opposite. The XJ is just this happy, nimble, light, small, friendly, like just go anywhere, do anything thing. There's no comparison. You could not give me a Ram Charger, and I'm buying up all the XJs I can get my hands on.
Matt S is saying Buick had a split window question mark. No, I don't think they did. The boat tail rib, they had the big fastback window, but they never had a split window, I don't believe. I always wanted to get one of those, the back window off of one of those boat tail ribs, and put it on like my 63 Special. You remember the Novas that they made with the fastback window on them?
Yeah, they built 3 of those.
I thought about doing it to a Buick Special because they never did it, but it was easily in the inventory.
Shane Smith, why did White Punk on Nitro get out of the parts business? Just curious. I either bought or sold some stuff to you back in the day. This takes up 100% of my time. You know, like literally. I mean, Dallas, have you ever seen how much time do you figure UTG takes in my life?
There's 24 hours in a day, so 26 hours a day.
Seriously, there's no time for anything else. There's no time for anything else.
I don't think the guy sleeps. I really don't.
Oh, I do. I do.
Oh, yeah. If you go back to the 40s, there was quite a few of them that had split back windows because they didn't have the ability to like really curve the glass well, I don't think.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it's split front glass.
True, yeah. So that gives you an idea.
Love to see what Tony would do in Imperial. I would do nothing to it. I would just drive it. I love Imperials. It's something I wouldn't modify because Chrysler got it perfect right off the bat. Shane Smith, I know you're busy. Appreciate it. Miss you on the forums. I know they're always talking shit about me over on the forums. Jimbo, what type of lockers are you running in the XJ or plan on running? The spiders on the that thing that the Eep Hero, they've already been welded.
Oh man.
Studebaker has many split back windows. Yep. Oh, you like the Dodge Retriever? I don't use that thing nearly enough. That's my wrecker.
Oh, that's what it's called? Is a Retriever? Hey, I need to go through that Q-Jet for you. I'm thinking we're gonna fix some of these. I've never had any of these issues you're talking about with the heat soak, right?
Caleb, I'm glad you. I mean, listen, it's just not for me. The Ram Charger. I mean, good luck with it. It's like the Ram Charger is one of those things. Okay, it's like like for example, perfect example, right? Dallas has Buicks. I love Buicks. I love Buick engines. I love coming here because I'm surrounded by these beautiful Buick engines. I love this stuff. You couldn't give me one. You know, there's just it, right? Does that make any sense? I'm going to go to an Oldsmobile show tomorrow, right? I love Oldsmobiles. I can't wait to be around these hardcore Oldsmobile people and soak up some of the atmosphere of all of that. You couldn't give me an Oldsmobile. And so it's kind of the same thing like with the Ram Charger. For me, it just doesn't fit my world view of what a machine should do. But for you, I mean, go for it.
That's why they made different vehicles. Not everybody's going to have the same opinion. There was a lot of 40s cars with splint back windows.
Your Ram Charger, Mob Talk. Yeah, no. Listen, here's the thing about the XJ. Okay, here's the thing about the XJ. It is the most friendly and nimble vehicle I've ever driven. Okay, I drove them back in the day. Back in New York in the 80s and the 90s, they were all over the place. So I drove a bunch of them, but I never really paid attention to them because my head was in another place. Now revisiting that car, the XJ, after all of this time, right? I am absolutely head over heels in love with this thing because it's light and it's small and it's friendly and it's nimble and it's peppy and it's like this. It just has every happy quality you could imagine a vehicle to have. There's no downside to them.
Versatility plus. I mean, it's
and the look. The look is just eternal, timeless, perfect. I can't. I can't. You know what I mean? I can't say enough good stuff about
See,
it.
and I want to do one of those. Somebody's asking about an AMC Eagle, which is based on that Cherokee platform, the XJ platform, the Eagle car, right? I want to do. They've made a lot of those Eagle wagons. Gosh, they were not that good looking, but versatility, it's got to be pretty damn high.
It's not the same as an XJ.
No.
No.
Then you got the Comanche truck. I don't know how. We were talking about this the other day. Remember, I told you your XJ was the first thing that I've ever heard of in my life that was designed to be an SUV first, and then everything else was based off of it, right? So it was the SUV first, and then the Comanche truck came, right?
Right.
Now, if you look at the way that, let's say, the Ford Explorer, it was a Ranger first, and then became the Ford Explorer, right? So they're backwards. That's why they were never really a good SUV, the Explorer, until they were redesigned, because they were mostly a Ranger, which was meant to be a small pickup.
Well, you had the Bronco 2, and you had the S10 Blazer.
Right, but they were off of the Ranger and
off the truck.
Right.
They were full frame, right? The XJ is just
unibody.
It's unibody, and they advertise it as a sport wagon.
Right, I like it.
It
it's a very much a station wagon.
Yeah.
I like it. He says Javon or whatever, J Van. I drove an XJ based Eliminator as a work truck. It was a POS. Mr. Will, I like the Jeep Scrambler. Yeah, the ones I always kind of gravitated towards were the ones that had the Dauntless 350s in them, the Buick V8s, the J2000s, Wagoneers, Cherokees, all of that same era, 68 to 71.
Comanche Jeeps were fine until the computer went out on the later ones.
Yeah, AMC Eagles were actually based off that XJ platform. Same dang drivetrain.
You guys, if you guys are interested in that sort of regular car reviews, right? One of my favorite channels. Everything they do is great. But Roman did something on the history of AMC that was really good. It goes into all of that.
Old Shack Garage says they love the Blazer. I have an S15 Jimmy and an S10. I was actually looking at what I'd really like to do. I've been looking at something to put this 215 all aluminum V8 in, and I've been looking at Blazers, S10 Blazer, like 4-wheel drive deal. Right? If I got to buy a bell housing, I want to find one that like a 4-wheel drive or even a 2-wheel drive 4-door Blazer or a 2-door Blazer. But then find one with a stick. It's got a T5 in it. They make a bell housing to bolt the T5 up to the 215.
Yeah.
Then you can have a 215 V8 in one of them Blazers, right? I think it'd actually be a pretty dang good driver.
You mean a Blazer or the
Blazer.
downsize?
No, a Blazer. No, like the S10 Blazer.
An S10 Blazer. Yeah, that would be a good. Eddie, what are you sending me $50 for?
Track rental.
Eddie, thank you, but you really should not have done that, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna put it to something. I'm gonna put that to special use. Thank you.
Jaguar engine swap. What engine would you use?
Not sure. But I'd probably go with a small block, probably a Magnum. Mr. Will says, I remember when I was a kid, the AMC Matador always looked weird but cool. The later ones got really weird. The way the front end, like the way the grill just kept like going out. The AMC guys, right? The AMC designers of the early 70s.
I think they were tripping their ass off when they went into work.
They were tripping balls when they drew that stuff out. They just kept extending. They were big on front overhang. You look at like the Javelins, 73 Javelins, and it's just like they're all about this
disproportionate,
crazy front overhang.
Yeah, well, like, oh, hey, you like pony cars? We heard they got a really long hood and a short trunk. We'll just move the entire cabin back 2 feet. Oh my gosh. The ones I liked was like the Matador is a good one, but you had like that Marlin. Oh my God. Like, you like fastback design? How about this? And we put it,
Right.
you're going to make 2 trips hauling ass with this car because this got twice the back on it. Oh, but you know what you find is the AMC guys, when you're an AMC guy, you are a staunch AMC guy. You're like,
They could do no wrong.
exactly. Like, I'm not driving anything else. I'm from Wisconsin, I'm going to only drive AMCs.
Wow, look at all of the Dakota timeouts.
I remember in April of 2006, someone in Hot Rod Magazine wrote an article about the return of AMC, and they had big funding and all kinds of money. And I'm reading this article. I'm like, oh my God, the sketches for like a Javelin and the AMX were just badass, right? And I'm like, I'm all in. And then I get to the end of the article, and it's like, happy April Fools.
April Fools.
And I was fucking crushed.
David Coe is getting all deleted and stuff.
Is that David Allen Co?
I have no idea. Let me see the deleted mixture. Tang.
Oh, he keeps putting Tang on there, huh?
Olive says Dakota definitely needs timeout for the vanity plate on his Pontiac. What's the vanity plate say? Penny's Hot Rod and Customs. My 77 Matador Coupe dirt track car was the best.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I really like, my favorite was Gremlins, right? That little small Gremlin. And guys would cram like 390s in them or 401s. Oh, it'd be animals.
Well, I mean, the basic Rambler, beautiful car. A lot of, okay.
Oh, you're talking about like 64, 65 Rambler. It was so simple. It was perfect. It worked.
Let me tell you. Okay. One of the most, okay, you have things in your life that leave an impression.
Right.
And you look at it and you say, well, that's just exactly how it's supposed to be. Okay. I was probably 12, 13, whatever it was. And my neighbor across the street, George, used to work on cars, right? He was, mechanic worked out of the house, which I did later on in my life. And he had an AMC, just a Rambler in there, straight 6.
Right.
And he was doing a head gasket on it. And I would clean parts for him.
Okay.
And when I walked over to the car and I looked under the hood, all I saw was this narrow sliver of an engine and nothing around it. Like, you could just see the ground.
Simple, right? Like,
here's the engine, there's the ground, here's the fenders. And I was like, that is how it's supposed to be.
Right.
That's
easy to work on.
That's my ideal.
Serviceable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of what I practice and preach today as an adult, right, has to do with my encounter with a 1968 Rambler straight 6. And that was, to me, the perfect thing,
Oh, yeah, the Rebel Machine.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good-looking car.
The Rambler Scrambler, I mean.
Oh, that was a good-looking car, too.
Yeah,
the SC Rambler.
SC Rambler, Scrambler.
Oh, man. Yeah, that sucker looked. The hood scoops were like, all right, you guys, you need to lay off the acid, right? But, man, did that car, they did the paint right. I mean, red, white, and blue, how can you go wrong, right?
Well, they were the little guys, you know what I mean? So they had to try harder. And, the Roadrunner had become such a success. The thing about the Scrambler that I was like, this is just the total shit, right? This is awesome. Not shit. The total shit. It was like, this is the best thing ever. Was the T-handle, it had a Hurst T-handle on it, and the tack was hose clamped to the steering column.
Oh, from the factory.
From the factory. Yeah. From the factory, right? He was like, how badass is that? They hose clamped the tack to the steering column. Sold. Sold.
Yeah, well, and somebody said, at Zero saying Trans Am Javelin. And then, didn't Penske run them in 70?
Mark Donahue was the driver.
Oh, my God. They were AMC made some of the best motors. Some of the best motors. I mean, they ran a stock. Well, okay. They ran pro stock, but it virtually was like a reworked AMC motor. I mean, the ports were super epoxy with no water in them, right? Or in the heads.
Yeah, and Steve Pastore saying the SC the Scrambler Scoop was a snorkel ahead of its time, and
It
it
was.
absolutely was.
It was. But
It
it was so weird looking with that kick up in it.
That I think beat so the first boundary layer scoop, the first official boundary layer scoop that I know of is the 69 6-pack. But I'm pretty sure that AMC beat Chrysler to the punch on that. And that's the actual first boundary layer scoop.
Yeah, Jay Malone, the dogleg heads. That's right. That's what they had. And they'd rework the hell out of them heads, but they'd run in pro stock. You know, there was literally like 3 AMC factory teams in like 70 and 71.
It was 73 and what because it became an advantage. 73, the compacts had an advantage. 72 was. 73 they rewrote the rules so that the Vegas, the mini cars.
Right, yeah.
But you had Masking Encounters, you had Wally Booth, you had who was the other one that was running the fucking AMCs and just kicking ass? Masking Encounters, Wally Booth.
I think of the Wally Booth car every time I think of one. The Hornet.
You know, I know Shirley Shahan had a pro stock
AMC
at some point.
She had an AMX, didn't she? What, she rode an AMX?
That was a super stock car.
Oh.
I'm sure somebody else there knows there was another hitter AMC pro stock team around 1973. Jeez, they're slaughtering Dakota.
Yeah, but he keeps putting Tang up, just like the other guy. Okay, Jamie and Tony Dallas. I have a stock 72 454 Chevy with original 750 Quadrajet. It's always kicked down on its own after about 3 minutes, even after I rebuild it, wondering why. Kicked down on its own. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
You talking about the transmission dropping to another gear? Sorry, I wish I could help you. I don't know what that means.
Jimbo's got to bounce. Later, Jimbo. Well, how did the AMX stack up against other muscle cars when they were new? They were right there. They were right with them.
They were killer.
Oh, Dakota has like 3 different accounts. Okay.
454 and a Volvo 240 wagon, question mark. Hell yeah, dude. That sounds cool.
Maskin would cut the head in half to raise the ports. Yeah, they did all sorts of stuff like that. Dakota says he has like 7 accounts. AMX 2-seater. Yeah, the first 3 years they were 2-seaters. Dakota is fighting back.
He doesn't want to be timed out.
God bless him.
Hey, he's still got a closet available over there at Tony's.
Yeah, exactly. We still have your space put aside for you, man.
Bring your 7 accounts and go sit in the closet. Be timed out.
Was the Plymouth Arrow American made? No, it was Mitsubishi. And it was the best looking funny car body of all time.
Well, they also made pretty damn good looking pro stockers. That's when they were raking them big time. No,
maybe a little short and stubby for a
isn't that what Glidden ran? He ran a Plymouth there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying aesthetically they were just a little stubby for a pro
Sure, huh?
Just a little bit, right? I think the Colts look better as pro stock.
Colts look good as a pro stock,
but for a funny car when they stretch them out, I remember back I guess it was 78. I think it was 1978, maybe 1979. Johnny Loper's Little Hoss.
I don't think I've ever
seen
that.
It was a fuel funny car. It was black with gold lettering. It was a Plymouth Arrow. The most beautiful machine I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that's where they used to have that thin quarter window, right?
Yeah.
And then when they got it on the funny car, they kept the thin quarter window on the funny cars. It was so easily identifiable. You know the one that always trips me out every time I see it? Ivo's Cordova, right? Doesn't he have a Cordoba, like, funny car? He had one. I'm sure of it. It was red, blue, right? TV Tommy?
Yeah.
That thing trips me out. It looks so funny car from the side, and you look at it from the front, like rich Corinthian leather. That's why I started thinking of like
Well, Mr. Norm's had a
Magnum?
Charger version of it.
a Charger.
Yeah.
Somebody did a Magnum one. Didn't they?
There were actually a couple. There were a couple of those Cordova bodied cars. That's what killed Don Carlton. Seatbelts is what killed Don Carlton. Let's see.
Dodge Omni was reverse engineered VW Rabbit. Well, I don't know about that.
It was close because the VW Rabbit and the Omni, when they were around together, especially when the Omni started out with a Volkswagen motor in it.
It had 1.6 liter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before
What is
the,
up with
before the
this?
2.2, the Omni had actually even after they brought out the 2.2, they still had the Volkswagen motor in the Omni and the Horizon. Hemi Kuda says there are two places on the planet named Corinthian. Neither one of them have cows. So where the hell are they getting this leather from?
The Corinthian people.
They killed all of the Corinthian cows to make the cars. That's why they have no cows anymore.
And that's why they ended the run of the cars.
What about the 67 Marlin 343? Yeah, great cars. Torque tube. The problem, the problem with the AMC cars back then, right, is that they clung to a lot of weird ideas. 67, they still had the trunnions please. They didn't have ball joints. They had trunnions. They had that enclosed hoop drive shaft. They were very unorthodox. Robert Lee, what's Bottle Rocket going to do this weekend? I don't know, but I'm dying to find out.
Dump clutches and bang gears.
David Wooderson is saying Tang now. Excellent.
I think those are all Dakota. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Is that Dakota?
Yeah.
Dallas, do you remember an article in Muscle Cars magazine back in the early 90s that a guy owned a 70 GS 455 and got into the 12 just by tuning, no bolt-on mods, strictly tuning? I might have actually written that.
It sounds familiar, but I read so many articles about Buick Big Block.
Yeah. Mr. Will, I think I wrote that, and it was like more like 1988, 87 or 88.
Oh.
Did I ever do the test between Dr. Pepper and stripper glitter? But it's funny because we're going to be screwing around with Plan Z. And that's one of the things. We have old tires on the car. There's lots of rubber on them, but they're dry rotted. They can't be run at the track. So I got new tires for it. New tires are going to go on. But before I take the old tires off, we're going to play around with exactly that. The starting line,
Traction compound?
Yeah.
Oh, I got like 3 55-gallon drums of that. So if anybody needs a barrel of traction compound, hit me up. Selling them for the screaming price, $650 a barrel.
Olive says only the finest free-range Corinthian Naugas went into that. Yeah, how many Naugas do you have to kill to get enough hide?
I don't know. I think if you do the Naga, you only get like the bottom portion of the seat, right? Not even the seated part, just like the area down by the carpet.
You get this part of the seat
right
out of a Naga. Jerry Poe, cold start idle, kicks down after warm up. I think is what the guy was talking about. I don't know.
Oh, I have no clue. I asked him to explain it, and I don't think I saw anything else from him.
Andrew Passman, thank you, sir. I have a 46 RE. Can I upgrade to a 47 or 48 RE internally using my same case? John Wilburn, there's a question for you, my brother.
That's a newer overdrive transmission, right?
Google sucks his bottle rocket will do about 200 feet if the past is any indication.
That's why we're going to put holy water in the radiator.
Well, it did all 660 the last time, but it did it on 7 cylinders.
Yeah, I think, I really think my prediction, I think we're finally going to get a decent pass out of bottle rocket. That's what I think.
I think so too.
Because
But I don't want to jinx it by saying that.
I just think you're due. I mean, you can only have so many freaking problems.
Don't say that. I raced with Bobby Lagana for years. Don't say that. Or Frodigan says they're building a 68 Sweatline to take on the farm truck. Any advice? Crime spree, bro. Because the only way you're going to afford to run with those guys is to literally just, you got to hit banks. You're going to have to hit liquor stores.
Lotto payouts is a good place to get a lot of money usually. When someone shows up at the lotto payout and they take the lump sum, just grab all the cash and run out the door. You never see cops in the picture, right? Never.
I would say to go do that, to run to put together a truck and try to go run head to head with an operation like farm truck. I would say it's going to cost you an easy $150,000 and probably 3 years worth of testing and tuning before you actually get anywhere near that territory.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do with your 68 Sweatline is cut the bed up until it's about a 6x6 box, and then put it on the back of a front engine dragster and just go whack the shit out of them. Yeah, I'm showing up with a 68 Sweatline, and then it's like you got a front engine dragster with the Sweatline bed, 6x6 box in the back.
Hornets Garage says he literally broke both rocker arms in half on cylinder 7 in my clapped out small block Chevy 350 just passing a van. It sounds like you hydraulicked it or close to it. I can't imagine how you'd break both rockers.
I don't know how Chevrolet would do that because they got the pivot ball, right? That's the only rockers that has a pivot ball that actually doesn't wear
break
that.
The stud maybe he did break the stud.
Maybe broke the stud.
Farm truck's motor alone is 40,000 plus. No, try again, bro. Try again.
I once saw a 68 Impala with a chain on the driver's side of the motor. Is that really the way dealers fix the motor mounts, or is that an urban legend?
No, a lot of people did that. I still do it.
Farm trucks
if I have
engine.
a car and I don't want a solid mount on, I'll for instance, a bottle rocket. I don't want a solid mount because I'm trying to cushion things between the drivetrain and the rear end. So I didn't want to have a solid mount. I wanted that little bit of give from the rubber mount. Same reason I use a street clutch instead of a race clutch in it. Give it that little bit of cushion. And I've got a length of chain, probably about 6 links between the block and the K-frame with the rubber motor mount in there.
So Matt S is saying farm truck's engine is a 632 big block Chevy capable of 1146 horsepower, I believe. And if that's the case, right? Yeah, if that's the case, tomorrow call Scott Shafroff up in, I think he's New York, right?
Yeah.
Order a
I used to hang out with Scott Shafroff.
Tell him you want a 632 big block Chevrolet capable of making 1,200 horsepower and handling, let's say, 2 kits of 500 horse nitrous. So another 1,000 horse of nitrous. And see what he quotes you price, because I'm sure it's going to be mind-numbing.
Andrew Passman, thank you again to all. I have a 93 12 valve, which, if I'm correct, is bolted to a 46 RH in those days. Okay. See, I'm the wrong guy.
That's a Cummins thing, right? So that'd be the overdrive and the Cummins?
Farm truck needs chassis work.
I don't think there's much left to do to that truck.
That's one of the most scienced out vehicles on the entire planet.
World's fastest hippie or Chi-Town hustler? Oh, I'm going to go with the Chi-Town hustler. Yeah. You know, Pat Minnick is the guy that's credited with the burnout, right?
Mike Mitchell was the world's fastest hippie.
I'm thinking Rolling Stone.
No, that was Joe Giacomo. It was I knew Joe Giacomo also. That was a Rolling Stone. No, the world's fastest hippie was Mike Mitchell. There was he ran gassers actually up until '72, and then he went over to a funny car. And he actually had a hookah painted on the side of the car.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I scavenge some power on a 302 Windsor by increasing the exhaust rocker arm ratio? Well, I'll tell you what I used to do on small block Ford. Small block Ford, I found that they really like a 1:7 ratio, all of them. Man, if you can score a set of trunnion style Cobra roller rockers, that makes a heck of a difference on just a stock motor.
John Wilburn says Shop 4 632 started at $18,000. That's his boat motor. That's like the regular. That's seriously, that's the boat.
If it
motor.
falls off the back, you wouldn't be upset.
Jerry Paul, I want to get UTG input on my 74 Dart with a 68 front clip, 76 440, 727, 8 3/4, 456 trip. What input? That sounds like a great car.
Sounds like it'd be really fast.
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect formula, car.
Now that's the kind of stuff you were talking about when you were doing your XJ video, and you said this is the way Mopars were back in the early '80s, right?
Right.
That would be one that you built.
Right. That's exactly what we would build. I can't tell you how many of those cars. Hey, Joe Matthews. Hey, Tony. Anyone ever accept your stock motor build for $1,000? Yeah, a couple of people did, but I didn't want it. It wasn't to go against them. It was to go against the guys who called me out. It doesn't pay for me to get involved in that kind of project unless it's for real, okay, for keeps. And it would have been those roadkill guys. I wasn't open to taking on that challenge from anybody but the roadkill guys.
Just to prove a point.
And no, Finnegan had nothing to do with it. Finnegan was not involved in this at all. Tony, have you met McCandless? Really enjoyed his documentary. No, he's one of the few people that have been in circulation that I have. Hey, we're coming up on 2 hours.
Oh yeah, we'll get it ready to roll.
Flew.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Let's take a couple more.
All right, guys. Well, we're rolling up here on 2 hours. We're going to get ready to head out. Throw us a couple more questions. We'll get them answered up and send you on your merry way.
Ryan Coates, thank you, sir. I need to replace the motor mast of my 440 New Yorker. Can I lift up the engine by jacking it by the oil pan? What's the best way to do the job? Put a nice piece of wood between, not just like a 2x4, but just put a nice piece of wood between the jack and the oil pan, and yeah, you won't have any problems. Those oil pans are pretty tough, but I mean, put a cushion in between.
Kenny Bell supercharger on a 5.0 Fox body Mustang, worth the effort. Heck yeah, those 302s run good boosted. Anything to add cylinder pressure on a 302 makes them run really good.
T111111. Who is your favorite old school drag car name? The Terrifying Toronado. I mean, can you beat that for a name? The Terrifying Toronado.
Chance Bryan's asking, what's the size of the rear tire on Bottle Rocket?
They're 8.5s, 8.5 by 28.
That's a good tire. I used to. Did I ever tell you I ran 26 by 8.5s way back, like early 2000s, and it was never a thing. And then in like 2012 or 13, I started seeing it pop up where it had that 8.5-inch Outlaw class.
Yeah,
and I so wanted to run that class, but God, they were running like 540s then. So I imagine they're probably way fast now.
Mr. Will, thank you. Tony in Dallas, what is the car you had the most fun to drive? Truly a ball of drive. Mine was a 73 TA 455 4-speed. Mine was a 72 Roadrunner 400 4-speed.
I had a 66 Mercury Cyclone 390 GT. I think that was my favorite car.
And on that note, guys, I think we got to call it. Neutral drop is dope. Yeah. All right. So guys, we're gonna pack it in. Okay. So Dallas, AHRAonline.com. You've got his merch, right? He's got all of the merch. He'll
Posters,
your cat,
decals.
right? All of these things. He's amazing, right? He's a great chef too. He can come and do a souffle for you, whatever it is. Just buy his stuff and he'll do whatever you want.
I don't do souffles with your cat's bits I take off though. No, that's a no-go.
What else? Okay. Our mods, John, Harry, Fubar Zero. I can't say it. Every time I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for timing out Dakota.
Yes.
All 7 of his accounts.
Everybody who contributed with Super Chat, thank you so much. It's always greatly appreciated. It goes a long way to keeping everything running over here. And everybody that just contributed with good conversation. You know, we appreciate you guys just as much. Thank you. So, we're doing another installment of AHRA Online Drag Racing History Channel, and that'll be up before the end of this week. We're starting a podcast.
Junkle Tony,
and Big Wilbur in the morning. So look for that within the next several days.
you got to watch MXC. I'm telling you. Go home and just watch a couple
I'm going
episodes.
to do that. And we're on Drag Boss Garage. So the Drag Boss Garage, go over there, give his channel a like.
Monday at 7.
The bell, ring the bell. Is that what you ring the bell? Ring the bell. Drag Boss Garage. Go over there now. He's got a great wheel standing Cougar, and listen, we'll be on there Monday night at 7:00, and then we've got our regular Sunday night show 7:00, and then Dallas and I every Wednesday night at 7:00.
Right, you
7:00 just seems to be the time,
magic
right?
number,
the magic number, right?
Yep.
So that's it, guys. I got to stop now. I just have to stop. Thank you all.
See you next week.
Good night.